Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be another chronic illness update. I've been posting vlogs here and there, but I kind of just wanted to include this all in one video. I don't want it to be super long. I've already filmed this video once, and something happened to the sound on the second clip of it, so I don't know. So at this point, I just want to get this filmed and done and hope and pray that it works and it doesn't mess up. So yeah, so I did go back and rewatch my original chronic illness update that I posted in June, and I will link that in the cards. I think it's on this side somewhere, if I remember. And I'm just going to catch up from there. When I left off in the last clip, or the last video, it was June, and I was getting ready, and I had an appointment for an echo in July. So on July 9th, I went for my echocardiogram, and I just felt, the entire thing felt weird. So I don't know if it was just the woman who did it, or if it was just, because they're not supposed to tell you anything, but you can tell, and I was watching the monitor the entire time, and the echo came back normal, but the EKG on it didn't. But that was kind of expected, because I just have weird EKGs. It's just me. So after that came back normal, about a week later, my doctor put in a referral for me to go see a cardiologist. So there was a 3-week period in between. Okay, so in August I went to see the cardiologist, and just based off the first appointment, I knew I was getting a second opinion. And I'm just gonna put that out there right now, because sometimes you just know when a doctor's not going to be a good fit, and I knew immediately that this doctor was not going to be a good fit. But either way, he sent me for a stress test, and we did a week-long event monitor, or a Holter monitor, and I have vlogs, like I said, and I'm pretty sure I vlogged most of this, so if I can remember, I'll try and find that one and link it. But the Holter monitor came back normal with signs of ectopy and big fancy words. Even I don't know that word, I'm an EMT, so yeah. So I ended up Googling it, and it's basically a fancy word for palpitations and PVCs. The stress test, however, came back, and I had normal response to exercise, but part of the EKG on it showed something that I had never had on a 12 lead before. And when I asked everybody, they're like, I would have to see it. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not good. So I had a paramedic that I'd worked with, that I talked to throughout the entire time I was going through this, and he sends me this website and says, here, if you're that worried about it, look it up. And I really wish I hadn't, because that was his way of saying, here, I don't want to tell you what it could be, so you find out on yourself. Find out by yourself. But at this point, we're still not completely 100% sure what it is, so yeah. So also in August, I'd been dizzy the entire time, because I'm always dizzy. It's just one of those things. And it kept getting worse, and it was annoying with the fact that I couldn't stand up without feeling like I was going to fall over. So I did schedule a neurologist appointment in August, but of course there's a month-long waiting list to get it. So in between scheduling that neurologist appointment, I did a follow-up with my cardiologist, and he basically tells me, all your tests came back relatively normal, and And when I asked about the stress test, he's like, what? There was nothing on the stress test. He had no clue what was shown on the stress test. He had to look it up, and then he kind of blew it off like, oh, that's nothing. That could be completely normal for you, and from what I can understand, that's not normal. But since I was still having chest pain, he decided that he would go on and send me for an ultrasound to roll up my gallbladder and a CT angiogram. So in September, I went for the ultrasound to roll up my gallbladder, came back normal. I had some lesions on my liver, but my iron levels are extremely elevated, or my ferritin levels are extremely high. So my regular doctor just said, okay, we'll just add on an abdominal CT to this angiogram just to be sure that it is iron lesions and that everything's okay. So a week and a half later, I had my CT angiogram. What I thought was going to be simple, go in and have an IV and have some meds and go through a CT scan, turned out to be nothing of the sort. I ended up starting out when they put you on the heart monitor. I was already showing weird things on my heart monitor, and the nurse called a cardiologist in. So I ended up seeing a cardiologist while I was having my angiogram, when I was supposed to have my CT angiogram. And the doctor came in and said, okay, I've been called to radiology 3 times. So the angiogram turned out normal. Everything on the angiogram is normal. And I was already told by the previous cardiologist that if everything came back normal on these tests, I wouldn't have to go back to him. So I'm not going back to him. And the cardiologist that I saw the day I had my angiogram mentioned the day that I had my angiogram I could follow up with him. Well, the following day he called to check on me, see how I was doing, and said, here, I'm going to after we got done with our conversation, said, here, I'm going to transfer you to the reception desk and you can schedule an appointment with me. Well, of course, the only new patient appointment they had with him wasn't until October. So I had my angiogram done the 20th of September. The 23rd, I saw the 22nd or the 23rd, I saw the neurologist. And the neurologist basically said, this is a cardiac issue. She said, I'm going to send you for an EEG to rule out seizures, and we're going to do a CT angiogram of your brain and of your head and your neck. And if everything comes back normal there, you go back to your cardiologist and your primary care doctor. So, of course, October I go in for the EEG and the CT angiogram. I was lucky enough to get those appointments on the same day. And both those tests came back normal, which is what we wanted, which is what we expected. So, and I already had my follow-up schedule, or I had an appointment with my new cardiologist scheduled, so that kind of worked out great. So a week after, and I went on and scheduled my appointment with my regular doctor too. That way I had that appointment scheduled. So on October 11th, I went to my cardiologist for the second opinion. I already had all the tests done, so there was nothing else he could actually run. So he just said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put you on this medicine for this, and currently we are trying to rule out 2 possible diagnoses. I am not sharing what the possible diagnosis is on here. If you are a friend or family and you know, please don't leave it in the comments. I'm planning on doing a big video hopefully in January when I get the official diagnosis, because at this point I'm figuring I kind of will. But the doctor said, okay, we'll put you on this medicine, we'll stick with your meclizine, and he put in a referral for vestibular rehab because the neurologist said cardiologist or my regular doctor could do that if they wanted to. And the cardiologist also ordered blood work to check my ferritin levels again and my magnesium levels, because my magnesium levels had never been checked. Nobody had ever thought about it. So yeah, and then I follow up in January. On the 14th, I went to my regular doctor, and to my surprise, he actually agreed with the cardiologist, and he upped my meclizine. I was on 2 a day. I didn't know you could take more than 2 a day, so I was just taking 2 a day. And the doctor's like, yeah, you can take 3. So for a week, he put me on 3 meclizine. He agreed with the vestibular rehab, and he gave me back my Zofran for my nausea, and that was pretty much the appointment with my regular doctor. It was just, here, we're going to up your meclizine and we're going to make sure you do this. And lo and behold, he agrees with the cardiologist that what's going on is probably the diagnosis. Well, it doesn't help that when I went to my regular doctor, I'd only been on my medicine from the cardiologist for like 3 days. So, yeah, I hadn't been on it long enough for it to actually do anything yet. So, October 21st, I went to the vestibular rehab evaluation, and they tell you it makes you sick. They give you a warning, they tell you not to drive afterwards and all that. And it made me so sick that I could barely move. That on the afternoon of that day into Friday, it took me until Sunday of that next week to actually feel better. Okay, so Rowdy has to come in and help, so he has to say hi. Now I'm going to free him and let him go wherever he wants. So, and yeah, he's probably going to sit right here, so you're going to see him the entire video. So I was talking with both my doctors, and my regular doctor said it's not uncommon to get worse for a little bit, but to get that sick is a little odd, but maybe stick with it. So I was going to stick with it and go to the appointment that next week, and I was talking to the cardiologist, and he said, you shouldn't have gotten that sick. And I've been monitoring my dizzy patterns based off what he told me to do anyway. And we kind of came to the conclusion that the dizziness is cardiac dizziness because of how it presents and when it presents. So at this point we've decided I don't have to do the vestibular rehab. Oh. The cardiologist also decided to switch me from, when he originally prescribed me the meds, he put me on one of the pills a day. I took it in the morning, and based off how I was feeling, yeah. And this happened in between vestibular rehab and everything else, because the doctor is like, if you're continuing to improve, if you are improving with this medicine, we'll just up your dose a little bit to see if you continue to improve. And since I did, he put me on 2 of those. So currently I'm on 2 of the pills the cardiologist put me on a day. I'm on my meclizine as, and I haven't been on meclizine as needed in forever. Like, it's always kind of how it is, but I haven't been able to go a day without taking at least 1 or 2, and I don't remember the last time. So it is currently November when I'm filming this, and oh, And at this point I can actually say that I have improved so much with this medicine from the cardiologist that I'm not completely back to normal yet. I still have symptoms, I still have days where I feel like crap, but for the most part I am back to normal. My biggest problem right now is getting so weak that I feel like I'm going to fall over. I fell 3 times in October, so yeah, it's kind of a big thing. But my fatigue is pretty much gone, other than feeling like I have to be in bed by 8:30 or 9 o'clock. My fatigue's pretty much gone. What is that? I have actually been able to go back to Zumba and actually participate in the classes and work out again. There are still times when I have to watch myself to make sure I'm not overdoing it and stuff, and my stamina is not there yet. But I am pretty much back to normal. I've even got my appetite back. Before, I had lost 25 pounds in between my first appointment in April and my cardiologist appointment. I lost 25 pounds. I've gained 6 pounds since in the last 2 or 3 weeks of being on this medicine. And mainly my only issue is weakness and shortness of breath, and that's not uncommon. They said when you're trying to recover from this kind of stuff. So basically, my thing right now is I take my medicine, I monitor my blood pressure, I monitor my water intake, and I try to get at least 64 to 72 ounces a day, because I drink out of a big 24-ounce water bottle, so I get 72 if I fill that up 3 times a day. And I monitor myself, so that's it. I will go back to my cardiologist in January, and hopefully I will be able to post an update or a video with the diagnosis at that point. So that's going to be it for this chronic illness update video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have not done so already, hit the red subscribe button down below for more videos like this, as well as some other content, because I pretty much post a lot of different types of content. And other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.